What if the Blair Witch was more than a legend? What if the forest itself was hiding the truth, waiting for its next victim? Tonight, we step into the shadows of Burkittsville to uncover the chilling mystery. If you dare to venture deeper with us, subscribe to DarkMyst Horrors and share your own terrifying encounters in the comments below. After all, every legend begins with someone's story. Our story begins in 1785, when Burkittsville was still the settlement of Blair. That winter was cruel, the kind that buried villages under snow and starved families of food. Fear makes people turn on their own, and in Blair, fear had a name: Ellie Kedward. A woman of foreign birth, she was accused of luring children into the woods and drawing blood from them with needles. To her neighbors, this was witchcraft. No trial, no defense. The townsfolk dragged her into the frozen woods, tied her to a tree, and left her to die in the biting cold. By spring, every one of her accusers had vanished. Entire families disappeared. Those who remained swore never to speak of her again. The town was abandoned, the name Blair erased from maps, but the curse had already taken root. They thought they'd silenced her, but the forest never forgets. What followed was more than rumor. Travelers who passed near the Black Hills reported strange sounds, like weeping in the distance. Children described a tall, pale woman watching them from between the trees, her hands too long, her face hidden in shadow. Hunters went missing, their gear found broken, as though snapped deliberately. Families who stayed behind abandoned their homes in terror. By the early 1800s, the settlement of Blair had dissolved into silence. The buildings crumbled, overtaken by weeds, and the land was swallowed by the forest. It was as if the town itself had been erased by a hand larger, older, and far darker than man. Generations later, the silence broke with tragedy. In 1940, 8 children vanished. For weeks, the town searched, combing the hills, calling their names. Then, one child returned. He told a story of being led into the woods by a woman, impossibly tall, cloaked in black. She whispered promises of safety. But in her presence, the air grew thick, suffocating, and the others were taken. He said she lived in an old house hidden deep in the forest, a house that breathed like it was alive. The boy's story was dismissed as hysteria, but the others never came home. Their disappearance remains unsolved. To this day, some believe the Blair Witch took them, claimed them, the way she once claimed the villagers who betrayed her. One of the darkest chapters came years later. A young boy disappeared, and 5 men went searching. Their tracks led to a clearing known as Coffin Rock, a slab of stone by the river, but the men never returned. Days later, hunters stumbled upon a horror. The searchers' bodies were bound hand and foot, their stomachs carved open, their intestines draped across the rock like a ritual display. Strange symbols were drawn in blood, yet when authorities arrived, the bodies were gone, every trace wiped clean, as though the forest had swallowed the evidence whole. The hunters swore they hadn't imagined it. They knew what they saw, and that vision haunted them until their deaths. What makes the Blair Witch so chilling is not just the disappearances, but the forest itself. Locals claim the trees move when you're not looking, that at night, The wind carries voices, whispers that call you by name. Hunters describe laughter echoing all around them, though no one is near. Travelers feel hands brush against them in the dark, only to find no one behind them. Some say the forest bends space itself, trapping those inside in endless circles. Compasses spin without direction, maps become useless. The Black Hills is not simply haunted. It is alive. It is a labyrinth built to feed. By the 1950s, America was caught in Cold War paranoia. Some dismissed the Blair Witch as propaganda, a ghost story designed to keep people afraid and obedient. Yet the evidence couldn't be ignored. People were still disappearing. Strange symbols kept appearing on trees. Hunters reported unnatural piles of stones arranged in circles, always cold to the touch, even in summer. Skeptics blamed hysteria, hallucination, or even secret government experiments. But for those who lived near the forest, it was far simpler. They believed the Blair Witch was real, and she was still claiming victims. The legend might have remained folklore, if not for 1994. That year, 3 film students, Heather Donahue, Josh Leonard, and Michael Williams, set out to make a documentary about the Blair Witch. They never returned. A year later, their footage was discovered. What it showed was chaos. The group wandering in circles for days, terrified, stalked by something unseen. They awoke to strange symbols outside their tent, piles of stones surrounding them, children's voices crying in the dark. One by one, their sanity unraveled, and in the final moments, an abandoned house deep in the forest. Heather's screams echoed through its walls, cut off only by static. To this day, the bodies of Heather, Josh, and Michael have never been found. Imagine you're there. The air burns with cold. Your flashlight is dying. The forest is so dark it feels alive, pressing against you. Branches snap behind you, but when you turn, nothing. The whispers grow louder. It's your name. You run, but the forest doesn't change. You circle back to the same tree, again and again. You scream for help, but the only answer is laughter, soft and cruel. And then you see it, a figure in the corner of your eye, too tall, too thin, watching, waiting. You know then what everyone before you has known. The forest doesn't let you leave. The final scene from the recovered footage revealed the house, a rotting ruin hidden deep in the forest. Its walls were covered in strange markings. The rooms were cold, suffocating, as though the house itself was alive. In the basement, Heather's voice cracked with terror as she screamed Josh's name. Yes! Yes! Then, silence. Only one image remained, Mike, standing in the corner, motionless, as though under some spell. A chilling echo of old folklore, the witch forcing her victims to stand facing the wall while she killed the others. The camera dropped. Static, nothing more. Today, the legend of the Blair Witch is stronger than ever. Hikers vanish without explanation. Locals refuse to step into the Black Hills after dark. Tourists who camp there speak of laughter that wakes them at night, of stick figure charms hanging outside their tents by morning. Some say the Blair Witch is no longer just a spirit, but the forest itself, a hunger that never dies. Whether myth, hysteria, or something far darker, one truth remains. The woods of Burkittsville are not safe, and if you go searching for the Blair Witch, she will find you first. The Blair Witch, a tale born of hysteria, or a force that has stalked these woods for centuries. Thoughtful, every generation leaves behind new stories, new disappearances, new whispers in the trees. Whether you believe or not, there is one question worth asking. If it's all just a legend, why do people keep vanishing? Maybe the Blair Witch is not a woman at all, but the forest's shadow, a hunger that feeds on fear. And if you ever hear the trees whisper your name, run, because in the Black Hills forest, you're never truly alone.
If you made it this far into the shadows with me, don't forget to subscribe to DarkMyst Horrors. Join us and let the nightmares continue. And if you dare, share your own story. You never know what might answer.